Touchdown. Unbelievable. Everything else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
When you go into this game, you make sure that you are the baddest defender on that field. You make sure that he cannot outplay you. If he hit your quarterback once, you hit his quarterback twice. That's what you do. Dak. Come on, Dak. All this noise all year. After the count of season you have put up, you put the number one offense on the field. But you're also number one in interceptions, buddy. We got away with it all year long. You can't have it here, buddy. We need the good Dak playing and that bad Dak, that Clark Kent Dak. You leave him on the bench sitting down.
All right, Cowboys fans, it is November, and we are playing the Carolina Panthers. Domination, 33-10. It was a slow start to the game, but we ended up pulling it out. Michael Fletcher here, Bailey Fletcher here, your host for the podcast. Man, it was a game that, I was scared to death it was going to be another Arizona game. We got off to a slow start, but we ended up playing it out pretty good. Cowboys win 33-10. Deron Bland had a key interception in the third quarter for a pick six. Great pick six. So I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I ever seen a face mask and a horse collar tackle in one game either. So that was kind of my first. But here we are to talk about the game. Bailey Fletcher's here with us. What was your take from the first quarter, man?
Oh, my take from the first quarter. Well, I have some notes written down here. First offensive possession was a 3-and-out. I don't think it was a bad 3-and-out. Most of the time it's like 2 runs and a pass. I think this 3-and-out, we ran some stuff. It just didn't happen to work out, and we punt. But the defense on the other end of on the other side of the ball, we had a really good first defensive stop. Showed that our offense didn't get it going yet, but the defense made a good stop to get it back. I think they started early in the game using Turpin very creatively. I mean, they were running him back and forth. They were using him in a way that they don't usually use him. Then you had Schoonamaker on the touchdown seam route. I've been telling you, man, if anybody runs a cover 2 man on us, that seam route is always wide open, and we used to do that so good with Dalton Schultz, and I like to see Jake Ferguson picking it up and stepping in that role there. I would like to see a comeback route, which they ended up doing it later in the game, that, they were playing so deep on us, 10 yards deep, that I'd like to see City come back to the ball or see like a little, hurry up, hut, and then catch. They ended up doing that. Still struggling with the run on defense. They were gashing us early with the run. And then for my overall first quarter grade, I gave us a B+. I think we did pretty good. There was some things we could have done better. And my grading scale is going off of A+ is an excellent. Like, you made no mistakes at all. So on this podcast, you're gonna hardly ever see me give out an A+ for Dallas unless they just play exceptional the whole quarter. But the whole quarter, I gave them a B+. I think that's a pretty good grade overall. What about you?
I thought Mike McCarthy did a great play calling job in the first quarter. They started the game with 4 straight passes, no runs. That was kind of a question mark above my head, but I see what they were doing. The second Dallas drive, the third down toss play to Pollard for the first down, that was ingenious. That was a great play. They ended up scoring, perfect drive. The Carolina Panthers on their opening drive, they got down there looking kind of like the 49ers game, where they just kind of marched down the field. But thanks to Michael Parsons and his sack, we got out of that hole. First quarter, I'd give them a B+ as well. I think that's a good grade. The play calling right off the bat I've never seen anything like that. Like, I didn't think that they were trying to set up anything. It was just like mixed match, wildcat, 5 wide. I mean, they went to all types of different formations, made good plays. made plays when it counted, and they scored.
I agree. And that first quarter was Dallas 7, Carolina 0. So, I think we got the job done for sure. And I would like to see us start most first quarters somewhat like that. Maybe not the 3 and out, but creative. Are you ready to move on? Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
the third drive, when we got down on the goal line after the penalty, I thought that Dak should have seen the all-out blitz, and he didn't on the goal line, and he could have probably passed that off pretty quick to a slant receiver. He didn't do that. He tried to do the fade route in the end zone, and it got tipped, so it was out of bounds. Those are things that they can work on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are you talking about the second quarter?
yes,
Okay, yeah.
the second quarter.
So
third
we're going to
drive,
move on to the second quarter now.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. You got any more to add to that?
No, that's what I wanted to say was about the fade pass in the end zone. So
Okay. First note I have written down about the second quarter. The Panthers killed themselves. They they gave us every opportunity. They had 3 personal fouls almost back to back to back of just nonsense. At least I think it's all on the same drive. Then I had they killed themselves with penalties. Dallas still only got a field goal from that. Now, like you said, that fade, he should have seen the blitz coming. He didn't see the blitz coming there, and later on we'll get to a point where he did. But didn't see the blitz coming. We had to settle for a field goal. That kind of stinks, but, it is what it is. I said offense had the defense had a big stop after that. And then after that, we had a bad drive that led to a punt. And then I had a good D stop, bend but don't break, because I think that's when we gave up the field goal. We stopped them, down there in the red zone, I think, or close to the red zone. That bend but don't break defense, we did a good job at minimizing the damage there. Scored with Panthers mistakes right before the half. That's just part of it. They made some stupid mistakes, and we capitalized there. Second quarter grade, I would say I gave it a C, and Dallas scored 10 in that quarter, and the Panthers scored 3. I think I would have. The reason I gave it a C is because we didn't really play that great, but because of the Panthers' penalties, it allowed us to, maximize on what they did, and that's what we did. We didn't have really that great of a quarter, but the Panthers allowed us to have a better quarter than what's on paper here. What are your thoughts?
no, I agree. I mean, they shot themselves in the foot. That's what bad teams do. They make stupid plays. They made bad decisions on defense, pushing Turpin down. I mean, that was incredible, stupid. There was no need in any of their flags. I mean,
Yeah, they had the one
we
with
were already
Dak.
dead in the water.
Yeah, they had the one with Dak sliding, and I think it was third down, and they just popped him in the helmet whenever he went to slide.
Yeah, we were dead
And
in
then
the water there. That was a 4th down and 5. The Turpin play was probably 4th and 6. They just shot themselves in the foot, and that's what bad teams do. We've done it. We've been there.
Yep.
You're right. It was 10-3 in the second quarter, so we bounced up there. Going on to the third quarter, we didn't score any points. It started looking like it was going to be one of those games where here we go. We're going to let them sit there and come back. It was 7-0 at the end of the third quarter. Now we're looking at a 17-10 game. And here we go. We're the Dallas Cowboys. That's what we do. We're going to let them come back. And then Deron Bland gets his big pick 6 and takes it to the house. And that was pretty much game changer, game over.
Yeah. I had for the third quarter 3 and out Panthers, great defense. Cowboys punt, be more creative. I noticed that the first and second quarter we were pretty creative with our play calling, and it's like we came out in the third quarter and we just went back to a vanilla style offense.
I think they were.
Go ahead.
No, I think they were trying to run the ball. take time off the clock, and that don't work for us because we don't we don't have the big backs. We don't have the pounding guys.
I get that, but like in the first half, like the little shotgun pitch out to Pollard, Turpin running out and catching it, the pitch out to Pollard to the left side out of the I formation to get the first down. They were more creative with their runs. They kind of went back to that single back, run it off tackle, straight down the middle, straight down the pipe, and we know that that's a 2 or 3 yard play maybe every time or a loss of yards, but it's not a consistent play that's going to get you 5, 10, 15 yards. It's never going to be that play with Pollard that just you keep punching him in the mouth, but yet we keep running it. So that's where I kind of come from being more creative. I agree with taking time off the clock and running the ball, but I feel like they went back to their regular old runs. In the first half we did some runs that are not like us to do, and they turned out in our favor. Then I had special teams penalty leads to Carolina TD. I know the defense kind of slacked on us there, but they thought they had the stop. Special teams comes out and gets that flag on roughing the kicker. They go for it. They get it. Defense, I also said the defense looked bad there. And for the third quarter, I gave them a D as their grade, as Dallas for 0, Carolina 7. I don't think they did much that. They looked super vanilla, super bland, and like you said, it looked like this was a turning point of the game that the Carolina Panthers were going to mount a comeback. What do you think?
I agree. The third quarter was not good for the Cowboys. They came out. Of course, Carolina got the ball first. They can't stop the run. I mean, they just can't stop the run. And Carolina, up to that quarter, was averaging 7 yards per carry, which is almost a first down on every play. That's just unacceptable. You can't do that against good teams because they will continue to run the ball on you. This team got behind the 8 ball because they self-destructed and had their own penalties. But if you're playing a good team that don't do that, it's 2nd and 3. It's 3rd and 1. You're not putting them in long distance 3rd down situations, which means they can still run the ball. The Eagles, with their little shuffle play that they run or whatever you call it, they're going to get a first down. All they have to do is get 9 yards. They're going to get a first down on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 every time because nobody can stop their play. So that's where the Cowboys were then. In the second half, first drive, the Panthers went 3 and out. Cowboys first drive, no points. The Panthers' second drive, Jordan Lewis was beat on the play, but he ended up causing a fumble with Adam Thielen. And one of the things that I noticed in the second half was Adam Thielen was the go-to receiver, and that's all they have. But we couldn't stop him. Why? Why can't we stop the only guy that's going to make a difference on the team?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. The CD's our guy. Last 3 games, 150-plus receiving yards. And you've seen today, they have the 7th-ranked defense, so they're one of the better defenses, and they held CD Lamb to, let me see here, 6 receptions for 38 yards. That shows that they knew how to shut down CD, which is you have to get the ball to CD. And one thing that they did was they got the ball to their playmaker. He found ways to be open because he is that good. And that's one thing that I think we lacked in today. I knew this was going to be a tougher task for our offense, and our defense was going to be what we're going to have to kind of lean on, saying their offense is ranked 30th in the league. But, yeah, I mean, I think we should have, even though we played a great game, I mean, we played a solid, sound offense, and then the defense came up and made big plays when they needed to, with the exception of a couple plays or a couple drives. And I mean, they only scored 10 points. So I think, I knew going into this game, this is what I was expecting, the offense to kind of struggle a little bit and the defense to really carry the weight through. But what happens when we play the 49ers, who have a top 5 defense and a top 5 offense? This is one of our offenses going to have to still get that ball to CD, and they're not going to be able to allow San Francisco to shut down CD, because if they do that, we're going to be kind of in the same predicament we were today. The 33 points, 7 of that came from the defense. or 6, however you want to look at it.
I just think that, I think we played a good game overall, and I'll go on through the fourth quarter where we dominated. That's when Deron Bland got the pick six, and that's when everything started changing. Like, Deron Bland's interception was great, but the way that he did it was even greater.
Agreed.
He falls down, nobody touches him, he gets up, he runs it in for a pick six. That's just being persistent and not giving up on a play, and that's the kind of player he is.
Great player.
That's
yeah,
and that's where we miss Diggs, Deron Bland's that middle slot guy that makes those kind of plays, and when Diggs is there, he takes away the outside, so this guy can just free roam and play good. When Diggs is not in there, Deron Bland has to play these star receivers, and then we've got Jordan Lewis playing the slot guys, and that's not great. Jordan Lewis is okay, but he's not great.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. If we had Diggs on the outside and we had Bland in the slot, no matter who Thielen's matched up against, it's going to be a tough matchup for Thielen. And today they got him in the slot and they got him against Lewis, and he was open around the field. You seen it, especially at the end of the game, them having to pass it and getting it to Thielen. I think we did a good job, though, stopping the rookie quarterback, applying pressure. I think Dan Quinn did a great job, and it just really came down to execution by the defense and the 10 points they did score.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a team game. Everybody has to play good. The special teams didn't really show up today. They didn't do anything wrong, but they didn't do anything great. So, actually, if they did, they did do something wrong when Williams hit the punter. But it was running into the punter. It only gave them 5 yards. They were still 4th and 3, whatever, and they got the first down.
Yeah,
so
and they were still they were still about 40 yards away from the end zone. So
right.
they did end up scoring. The defense did end up giving up a touchdown at the end of the day. But for me, for the fourth quarter, I had Tony Pollard establishes a dominant TD run. It looked like Tony Pollard from last year. I think that was good for him. I think that's going to allow him to have more confidence. And in this game, I've seen them play Daddle a lot more than they have been playing Daddle, which maybe freed up Pollard to be able to get fresh to be able to do that. He looks solid on that run. I can't speak for all game because I don't think all game long he was just dominant, but he did look really good on that run. It brought back great memories of the old Pollard that we used to see.
Well, in my opinion, you've got to get a running back in the groove. You've got to give him the ball. He's going to have negative yards. He's going to have 3 yards. He's going to have 2 yards. But he's going to a running back like him is going to bust one on you if you keep handing him the ball. And I think that's one of the things the Cowboys don't do enough is keep feeding the beast. And we'll see how it ends up playing out. I think they called a great game today. I don't think they did anything wrong, but I would do things different, but I'm not there. I'm not a head coach. But the more you feed people, the more they get used to what they see, the more they get aware of what they're seeing, and then the more they know what they need to do to get open, to hit that seam, to hit that open gap and go, But if you're hitting on the ball here and there, it's not repetitious, so they don't really get in that groove. You know what I mean? There's a fine line between a groove and a rut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can be in a groove, you can be in a rut. And there's a fine line between that, and you got to give the guy the ball so that he can get in his groove,
Yeah, and right here, Tony Pollard had 12 attempts for 61 yards, a touchdown, and 5.1 as his average yards a carry. And I think that, that 5.1 average helped out just because Rico Daddle did get the ball as many times as he did. I would like to see Rico back there a little more than I seen him today. I think that would make Pollard have more of these burst touchdown runs. But overall, I think, they're learning that. They're seeing that, and Daddle is playing more, and I agree with that. Back onto the fourth quarter, Deron Bland picked 6. It was an amazing sight to see. I love that play, everything of it. He played that. He was actually
play, bro.
he was actually a little further back than he probably needed to be, and he burst forward and still with them long, lanky arms, he got out in front of that ball, tucked and rolled, and then took off. I mean, that was clinical. That stuff you can't teach. That's just talent. Skill.
And don't look now, but he's fixing. If he gets another one this year, he's going to be one of the elite that's got 5 pick sixes in a year. I mean, that's
Well, and
crazy.
he'll have the record for the most pick sixes in a year. For the record's
Right.
4, he's tied with it right now, and that'll be 5.
Right.
And we still have about half the season to go, so I think it's definitely likely. Saying we play the Redskins twice, we have some games there. Not that we have to play bad people for that to happen, but it's more likely to happen. But
It's the Commanders.
back onto the oh yeah, Commanders. Back onto the fourth quarter, I had I wrote down the defense is epic. I mean, they played epic the fourth quarter. They also had a forced fumble, and they recovered the forced fumble. That was
Yeah.
good. That was a good way to say, hey, we're here to end the game. We're not playing with you. We're not even going to let y'all think that y'all are going to be back in this game. Cowboys kick field goal. Good job keeping momentum. They didn't go down and score, but just being able to hit the field goal, especially after Aubrey missing that one extra point attempt, I think that was a great way to just keep the defense rolling, know that they're not alone. The offense is going to help them out. I think it was a great way to finish strong, and that's what I had. Finish the game strong. Fourth quarter grade, not an A plus, but I'll give them an A. Dallas 16, Carolina 0 in that fourth quarter.
It was great. A great fourth quarter. That's the way you close a game against a bad team. They did it. They had Cooper Rush in there. I think he was 3 for 3 with 15 yard, whatever. But they finished the game like they needed to. That's the way you close out a dominant performance. And they did it well. They did it in a professional style. They did it with class. And I'm proud of the team today overall. My overall grade of them would be a B. I think they played a B game. A game would be, blowout, shutout.
Yeah.
But they played a B game,
Yeah,
against a bad team.
I would probably, agree. I'd say I'd give them a B minus just for how poorly we executed that third quarter. Like other than that, if I could gave them a C in that third quarter, I could say maybe a B plus. But I'm gonna give them a B minus because of how bad that third quarter was. And you're gonna have those sometimes, but against the Panthers, we really can't afford that. The worst we can afford against a bad team to me is a C quarter. Because when we play these great teams, yeah, they're going to have bad quarters, but their bad quarters are going to be about a C plus. So when we go back to playing the Eagles again, or if we get a chance to redeem ourselves against the 49ers in the playoffs, we're not going to be able to have these D quarters.
Yeah. Now, I think, too, one of my things is I keep going back to this. I've been going back to this all year. We can't stop the run. But when you get up on somebody 17-0 or 20-0, they can't run the ball. They have to throw to get points. So if you get in a situation to where somebody can actually run the ball against us, that's a problem. We have to figure out a way. Dan Quinn's got to figure out a way to stop the run. And I do understand the bend but don't break. But 8 yards a carry, 7 yards a carry, 11 yards a carry, that's not going to work in the playoffs. When you play the 49ers, they're going to run all over you. When you play the Eagles, they're going to run all over you. The teams that know that they can do that are going to do it. And they're going to do it successfully unless you show that you can stop it. Micah Parsons is a edge rusher. That's it. He's not a run-stopping player. He's not going to stop the run. He's going to chase you down from behind, but he's not a run stopper. D-Law is a run stopper. Mozzie Smith, probably run stopper. They have to figure this out before they get in the playoff situation because we're probably not going to win the division. I mean, we'll see. But the Eagles have a very strong schedule coming up, but so do we. The Eagles are going to play the Chiefs on Monday night. We'll see how that goes. And then they're going to play the Bills, and they got hard games, but so do we. So let's say the Eagles win the division. We have to go play Tampa or whoever, or the New Orleans Saints, that's probably not going to be a problem. It may be on the road because we're not a good road team, but at some point you're going to have to stop the run. We haven't been able to do that all year. We couldn't do it last year, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, stopping the run, I mean, we seen it in the 49ers game. We couldn't stop the run. They kept gashing us. They got up on us, and then what they do when you get up on Dallas, you just keep running the ball. And when you can keep running the ball all game long, and then you're just going to keep gashing us. I mean, we have those times like in this game where they run it on first down and they gash us for 7 yards, and then they run it again and they get a first down, and then they go to run it again and you know they lose 2, 3, 4 yards because now we're ready for it, and then they're behind the sticks, but they're also down. So now we make it a passing down at that point. But somebody like the 49ers, who's a great running team, I mean, I would say that they're probably the best running team that we see, and they're just so creative on offense that a team like that's going to do it again to us if we're not careful in the playoffs, being able to stop the run, because they're not going to put Purdy in a situation where he's going to have to throw that bad and then make mistakes and throw picks against us. They're going to just keep running it. And when we seen they had the 3 losses, I mean, one game McCaffrey got hurt, one game Debo got hurt. Those are their two big running game people. And when you lose McCaffrey for a game, I mean, it's definitely noticed. It's definitely noticed. So
Right.
I think, you know, they come into the playoffs with a healthy Debo and a healthy McCaffrey, and they're going to give us problems if we can make it that far.
I mean, I think it's a 3-team race. It's Dallas, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. Somebody's going to get home field advantage. The 49ers dropped 3 games there after they beat us in a row, but they shined last week. You know, I mean, against a bad team, but they shined. And the Eagles had a week off. They actually had 11 days to get ready for the Chiefs. So, and the Chiefs had 11 days to get ready for them. So we'll see tomorrow night how that plays out. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we got to keep focused on our team, what we're doing, how we're doing it. Keep winning the games you should win. You know, we got the Commanders coming up on Thanksgiving Day. By the way, they got beat by the Giants today, 31-19. So that's not something that you want to prey on because you don't want to overlook a team, but you got beat by the Giants. we beat the Giants 89-17.
I don't think they didn't just get beat by the Giants. The Giants beat them up.
Yeah, they got walloped, you know, but it's the Redskins, it's the Commanders, however you want to look at it. It's a rival game. They beat us last year in week 17, last week of the season, you know.
They always play us hard. They always play us hard. You know, they come into our game physical. So it's nothing we can sit here and say that's a give me, but at the end of the day we got to be really careful saying that because I've seen in my years as a Cowboys fan, I've seen, it's an easy gimme game, and the Commanders you were the Redskins at the time, but put us in our place really quick.
Every week it's a battle. It's going to be a battle from here on out. We've got the Commanders twice. We got the Eagles. We got the Bills. We got the Lions. We got the Seahawks. I mean, every week's going to be a battle. You know, we're a good home team. Hopefully we can carry that on down the road, and hopefully we can win a couple of these games on the road. We got to go to Buffalo. We got to go to Washington. I mean, we're going to have some games on the road that are tough. Washington's kind of reeling right now, but Buffalo's kind of reeling right now. We'll see how that goes. But
yeah, I mean, we have Miami too, which I think Buffalo and Miami, the one good thing about playing these guys is that is their instinct is to pass first. They're passing, you know, team. So that to me doesn't scare me as much against our defense as the 49ers. I feel like the 49ers are, you know, there are, you know,
Nemesis.
Whatever you want to say, they're our Dark Vader. You know, there's somebody they're our Achilles heel because of the way they run the ball. That's what our defense is the worst at, and how creative they are at doing that. I mean, and we could say that the 49ers, and a lot of people may disagree with this, but the 49ers to me are the best overall around sound team in the NFL. And I know I'm not going to be an Eagles fan because I'm a Cowboys fan, and they're going to be a rival. And I think they're second to that. I think the Eagles are better than us, and until we can prove otherwise, we're going to have to prove it. We're going to have to prove it for sure.
I agree with that. I mean, the Eagles are. I mean, they're 8-1. They win ugly, but they win. They beat us ugly. They gave us the game. They handed it to us, and we didn't take it. I mean, so yes, they are the best team in the NFC. They're 8-1. We are 7-3. So we'll see how this goes, how it plays out. Tonight's game, we'll go back to tonight's game. The Cowboys kind of started slow, but they ended up doing what they do, and we won 33-10. Next on to the Washington Commanders. We'll do a pregame show for that.
Well,
we'll get everybody ready for that game.
Before we finish, let's do some let's grade some of the players. Just individual players. We did the quarters. We broke it down quarter by quarter, but. To you, who stepped up in this game, who didn't step up in this game, and you would like to see more of, and what kind of grade do you give them overall on how they performed today?
I think Dak played a great game. I think Dak did what he was does. Dak made some good throws that were dropped. I'd give Dak probably an A on this game. I thought he made good throws. He made good decisions. The guy that I was kind of disappointed in tonight was Tolbert. Tolbert was a big spring training guy. He was supposed to be the next depth wide receiver that we had. He had a couple of drops that shouldn't have been drops. If you're going to play in the NFL, you got to make catches.
And whenever he caught the ball, it was like that one he caught the ball and he sat down on the ground. Like he's not. He's to me, he's like a Cole Beasley slot type of guy. He's kind of scared to get hit. They're trying to put him in this role of being like the next Michael Gallup, running him on the outside, and I just don't see that potential in him. And the Cowboys do for whatever reason. But yeah, I have to agree with you. I have to give him like a D. And all year long, or even last year, Tolbert was supposed to be the guy, and I've yet to see Tolbert step up in any game and make a play that's like, maybe we should keep that guy.
Right.
They keep playing him. Go ahead.
Go ahead. He's not like the Cedric Wilson that makes big plays in big games. That's all Cedric Wilson did. You didn't hear about him all year, but in a big game, he would make a big play. Tolbert's not that guy. I mean,
no.
He's in there. He gets routine balls thrown to him. He misses them. I mean, you can't do that. This is the NFL. So I would give him a bad grade. I thought Dak played a great game.
I agree. What about Pollard? What do you think? What do you think Pollard did overall?
I think Pollard did his job. He did what was asked of him. I would give him like a C. I mean, mediocre. Nothing great, nothing fantastic, but
he didn't really do anything to shine other than that one play, and he really didn't do anything that was like, man, Pollard looks like crap. He kind of just did what he was supposed to do, like you said.
But you got to go back to Zeke. When Zeke was pounding the defense for 3 yards, pounding the defense for 4 yards, and then you got this home run hitter that you throw in there that don't have to worry about doing the tough yardage. He just got to worry about getting the home run. I mean, it's a different scenario. We had that with DeMarco Murray back in the day. DeMarco Murray he did the dirty work.
Yep.
And then let somebody else come in and shine. So it's just the way it works. I mean, Rico Dowdle should probably start to do the dirty work.
Yeah, he should be the first down guy. He should be the first down guy to go in there and kind of, like you said, set the tone, punch him in the mouth, and that way Pollard can have those explosive plays.
Yeah. But we started the game with 4 passes. So, I mean, nobody got to run the ball at all. So, and that wasn't bad. That was a good decision by Mike McCarthy. I thought he did great.
Great way to switch it up.
Yep. You got a quarterback that's hot, let him throw the ball. We went 3 and out on the first drive. We come back and we scored a touchdown or a field goal, I think.
No, it was a touchdown. You're right.
We scored a touchdown with Schoonmaker. Am I saying his name right?
Schoonamaker.
Schoonamaker, whatever. So Mike McCarthy called a good game.
What would you grade Mike McCarthy overall, in this game?
On tonight's performance, I would say that was an A. I thought
Let's
he called
say
a great game.
To me, I'm going to give him a B because I think if you go off of the first half, I give him an A, maybe even A plus because I think the play calling was spot on. But then when you talk about the third and fourth quarter, it got a little more vanilla, and I think that's why we kind of had such a bad third quarter. In the fourth quarter, he kind of incorporated a little bit more of it again. So I would have to give him probably a B plus, something like that.
First half A. Second half, I mean, you get a pick six, so your defense scores. So that takes so much pressure off of you as an offensive play caller. Now you can just sit back and play it safe. You can play vanilla because now your defense is up. They've got momentum, and that's what they did tonight, kind of, just kind of chill. We'll keep running certain plays, but now it's not a strategic game. Now it's they have to come back and win. So I get both sides of the play calling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What would you? Let's see. Let's stay on the offensive side of the ball. CeeDee Lamb. What do you think he did?
I mean, CeeDee, I'd have to go back and look at game film to see who's open and who's not. I thought CeeDee played a pretty good game. He didn't get his 10 catches with his 150 yards, so he didn't get to surpass whoever he was going to beat in that category. But it's not about that. It's about playing good team ball. It's about playing good team ball and winning football games. That's all it's all about. And all them guys know that. They realize that. Do they love statistics because that may give them a gold jacket one day? Yeah. But, I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, it's about team football. I would give CeeDee probably a B minus.
Yeah, I'd say a B.
Like I said, I'd have to go back and look at this film and see if he was open on certain plays and he didn't get the ball thrown to him. I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into that,
Yeah, and I would probably give him a B too, and not that it's even his fault, but just overall production, even if it ain't his fault, wasn't all that great. I mean, he showed up when he needed to. He had that one rush for 7 yards. I think it was like a in motion rush, and he played pretty good there. I think he had 6 receptions, 38 yards, 1 touchdown, and I want to say he dropped 2 this game. So that's why I'd say he was kind of there. I feel like one of the drops he had, you could have called pass interference. So I'm not going to really put that on him. But, yeah, I would probably give him a B too. Schoonamaker, I'll just move on to him. Schoonamaker, I would give him probably a B plus because he didn't do a lot this game, but he had a really phenomenal touchdown catch. That's really what you're asking for in a tight end is to be there when you need him, and he showed up whenever we needed him most.
Yeah. So your grade on Dak, what was your grade on Dak?
I would say for Dak probably an A minus because I think there was sometimes, like you said, I think he played a pretty great game. A lot of the times when the balls were dropped, it wasn't his fault. It was where it needed to be. But down there on the goal line when we had to settle for 3 points, like you said, he didn't pick up the blitz and he didn't get somebody to block. And later on in the game when he threw that touchdown pass to CeeDee Lamb, he brought in, I forget which one it was, but he brought in the tight end to block right there. And then that took the safety having to make sure that the tight end didn't block and release. So it held him there, and it made CeeDee one-on-one in the end zone, and that's money all day long. You get CeeDee one-on-one, he is open. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
And then I don't really think there's too many more people we need to do. Brandon Cooks, solid game. I'd probably give him a B. He was there and did what he needed to do. I don't really see anybody who played super bad on offense. I think the offensive line, I would just give them a grade overall, was an A. I mean, whenever you don't allow any sacks, that's an A to me. The running game, I don't think you can really blame it on them. I think that's more of just the way we run the ball. We don't do a lot of pulling and stuff, at least, the regular way we run the ball in the single back. We pulled some early in that game kind of creatively, and that worked. But we ain't pulling people. So when you got Pollard running straight up the middle and you got O-line sticking their hands out, linebackers right there, I can't really put that on the offensive line. And no sacks in the last 2 games. I think they do pretty great. Every now and again, you're going to get those times where somebody gets blown up off the ball. I think one thing that kind of made the offensive line struggle a little bit, the times they did struggle, was I heard them talk about in the game, and I realized it. Every time the center was about to hike the ball, he dropped his head down and picked it up and then threw it straight through his legs. So every time he picked his head up, people were already ready to come, and they were getting there so early, the center didn't even have time to put his hands up. So I think that's something that's not on our offensive line, but it's on the coaching staff to help fix him nodding every time he does that, because that is given away whenever he's about to hike the ball.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the only things I took away from the offensive line was Zach Martin did have a play where he let somebody go, which is incredible because he don't do that. But
that
Tyler,
I think it was that wildcat that Pollard ran, or it was something like that. It was one of those weird plays.
Tyler Smith had a holding call. I mean, I'll take that. He's a beast. I'll take the holding call all day.
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, Tyler Smith is definitely going to be the next, Zach Martin, Tyrone Smith.
Well,
he's already, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if he made it to the Pro Bowl with the way he's played this year, and I feel like he's learned so much since last year. I'm very proud of that pick. That was a great, phenomenal pick by Dallas Cowboys.
And that was one of those picks where you scratch your head, like when we drafted the center from Nebraska or Wisconsin, Tyler
Frederick
with the 31st pick in the NFL draft. We draft Tyler Frederick, and he was.
I think it was Travis Frederick.
Travis Frederick, yeah. So he was on a commercial today saying, "I didn't never think centers don't get picked in the first round, but the Cowboys picked me." He was phenomenal, and then we ended up getting Tyler Biadasz, who's from the same school right behind him. He's been. He's kind of underrated, but I think he's phenomenal, even though he does the head duck thing. Dallas is pretty good at picking offensive linemen,
Yeah, I don't blame the him throwing his head down on him. I believe that's somehow correlated with the offensive line coach on how they do it. Whenever you're about to snap the ball, make sure you look, or whatever the case may be. I think that's something that you can definitely fix. It's not something that just happens. But
it's something somebody picked up. Like some defensive players, like, hey, look, this guy does this every time they hike the ball. Somebody picked it up. It was a defensive coach, a player, and they're like, hey, we know when they're going to snap the ball now. So somebody's going to have to work on that.
But at the same time, I will say, until they said something, I've never noticed it before. Like, it's not been. I guess I'm just not really ever watching the center on the plays. But I did notice it once they said something. It was every single play, and like you said, I don't think that's really on him. He's not at fault. That's something they can just go. The O-line coach can work with him on to make sure that at least if he's going to do it every play, it's not consistently at the same time that he hikes the ball. And
now you can use it to your advantage.
Yeah,
because if you do that, you can do it and make everybody come and. You're not hiking the ball. So
yeah, if they were smart, what I would do is first play coming out against the Commanders. Is that who we play next? I would duck my head and I'd get Dak to say HUD or whatever and get them guys coming. And like you said, trick some people with it. Use it to your advantage. And I would say probably the weakest link on our offensive line, and I would say he's a really solid player. I just don't think he's the next, I think you could, Tyler Smith's on a different level than him. Zach Martin's on a different level than him. And even in his latter years, Zach Martin is still better than him is Terrence Steele. I don't think he's a bad guy, but I think, there's definitely still room for improvement there. I don't think you go get somebody else. I think Tyler Smith he's still younger, isn't he? Maybe 3 to 5 years in the league?
Yeah, Terrence Steele is one of those guys that was overpaid for what he does. He couldn't handle Hassan Reddick from the Eagles. He can't handle the 49ers. Once he sees Chase Young, he's not going to be able to handle that guy. He was overpaid. That'll be one of those things we'll look back at and say they shouldn't have done this, because that he's decent, but he's not like Lael Collins. When he was there, he was money.
Yeah.
And he left and went to Cincinnati, and they've already cut him because he wasn't as good there as he was at Dallas. Terrence Steele can't handle the pass rush. Like if you normally your pass rush comes from your left side of your offensive line or your right side of your defensive line. When you play a team like the 49ers who have Bosa on one side and now they've got Chase Young on the other side, he can't handle that. He couldn't handle Hassan Reddick from the Eagles. I mean,
Yeah.
he got blowed up on several plays. That's a problem, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that. And I guess let's move on to grading the defense, and then we can start closing shop.
All right, brother.
Uh,
I thought the
who do you want to start
defense-
with on the defense on the grading, or you can just grade the overall defense, or however you want to do it.
I would grade the overall defense because I don't want to pinpoint anybody. I mean, Michael Parsons had his sacks. D-Law played great, even though you don't really see it on the stat sheet. But if you look at the game, he played a great game. Mozzie Smith played a good game. I would say overall, they were probably a B, but it's because they still make plays when they probably shouldn't. Like, their pass rush is great. Pass rush is great. The run stopping ability, man, it's an Achilles heel for this defense. They cannot stop the run. And
Yeah, agreed.
if you have a game where your team's still in it, where it's 17-10 like it was tonight with the Panthers, they can still run the ball successfully against you. But once you start getting up, when you get that pick six, and you go up where you have to start throwing the ball, that's when Dallas's defense excels, because they excel at pass rush and they excel at playing coverage. If you can run the ball against Dallas, you're going to win probably, because they cannot stop the run.
Yeah, and I will say too, I would say the same, a B, because I think they played a really overall great game with the exception of the third quarter, but offense, same. With the defense, it's almost like I've noticed every game we've had a pick six, after that, the defense is just on fire. No matter what they do, it's always right. You know, like it takes that pick six to really get we get a pick six, we're stopping the run. We're stopping everything. Like it doesn't matter. We're proving we're the best. And I just really wish it didn't take a pick six to do that. I wish just the sacks alone, getting a sack would fire us up that much. What do we have today? Was it how many sacks do we have overall? I know Mike had got 2.5. So there's 3 there because somebody else was in on that other one.
Armstrong had 1.
I think Sam Williams had 1. So I think there was at least 5 sacks tonight, and you can say it's against a good rookie quarterback, whatever, but at the end of the day, it's really against their offensive line, and they do have their 30th ranked offense. But I think coming in the pregame show, I knew that we would have a pick or two, and we'd have 5 or 6 sacks, I think is what I said. So I was pretty close in to being right on the defensive side of the ball, and I really laid it down to it depends on what our offense can do, because I mean, even though they're 1 and whatever, their defense is ranked 7th among the league, which is pretty good to be a 1-8 or 1-9 team. So
one thing I always look at with the Cowboys, and I'm probably a little bit biased on this, but I never look at records, because I feel like everybody's measuring stick is beating Dallas, whether we're good or not. Like their measuring stick is like, if we can beat the Cowboys, we're up here. You know, I think Arizona was like that. Like, if we can beat the Cowboys, we're up here. And they did, but they're not up there. They've lost every game since. I feel like that's everybody's measuring stick. For whatever reason, it makes no sense, because there's years that we're worse than they are, but that's still their measuring stick. Everybody plays us. We're America's team. We have the best fan base. We have the best following. The best people that fills the stadium in a away game is the Cowboys. Maybe the Steelers are second, but that's just the way it is. So we're always going to have to fight. We always have a fight on our hands. We always have a heavyweight fight. We got to knock somebody out, regardless of whether we're good or not.
Yep. Yep. I would give DeLon Bland an A for sure. I mean, he played. He played like Deron Bland plays. I don't expect anything more. I don't expect anything less. He did Deron Bland stuff. I think Micah stepped it up. I think they said in the either just the last game or the last 2 games he hasn't had any sacks. So it was good to see him go out and get 2.5. Like you said, D-Law, he's always there, and I'm loving Sam Williams. I think Sam Williams, I would have to give him an A because I think he just consistently. He's not the top guy, but he's consistently, every time he's in the game, he's making a play. Like, he's always plays, there. Man. He's proven that, say if something ever did happen to Micah because he wants too much money or whatever, that Sam Williams will step right into that spot and still shine. He may not be quite Micah, but I think he could be pretty close. I think he's got the potential.
He could be a cheaper Micah.
For sure. And I think, Damone Clark showed up today. Damone Clark looked really good at the linebacker spot, stepping in there I think he's stepping in there for Van Der Esch. I don't know if it's him or Marquise that's stepping in there for Van Der Esch, but either one, I think they both played pretty solid games. They were in there on stopping the runs. Them running backs, though, today were popping them linebackers, so they did take a beating, but I would say the linebacker crew, I'd probably give them a B overall. They, you got to just – I don't know if it's we need more meat back there or what, but you got to be a little bit better at stopping the run. They're stopping it, but not until they get 7 to 10 yards, and by that point they're running you over. So I would give them probably a B, B+. Cornerbacks, overall, great job. Overall cornerbacks, I'd say probably B+, just because Adam Thielen did burn Jordan Lewis, and yes, I'm calling you out, Jordan Lewis.
You got to call out Jordan Lewis.
Dan Quinn, great job other than the third quarter. I mean, it was awesome. I think today was a clinic of, come out, hit them in the mouth, have a bad quarter. It could swing back the other way, overcome the adversity. Everything you want in a game. You want to come out and you want to punch them in the mouth. And then you don't necessarily want the adversity and seeing them come back, but I think it's good to kind of test where your team's at mentally.
Well, we let them hang around, and that's one thing that historically, if we let teams hang around, they usually end up beating us. And today was different. Like, we let them hang around, and then we got the edge on the pick six, and then it was over. I mean, it's just over. Like, at some point, you got to flex your muscles. You got to say we're the better team. And yes, we're beating up on bad teams. I mean, I think our winning percentage against teams over 500 is not good, but we're winning. That's what you do. You beat bad teams. You don't lose to bad teams like we did at Arizona. We've beaten, Carolina. We've beaten the Giants, which is an arch rival, regardless of how you want to look at it. It's still a rival team. They still want to beat it. They beat the Commanders today by 12 points,
Yep.
So are they that bad? Are we just that good? We don't know. We'll see as the season unfolds. We got the Commanders next, and then we play Seattle, which is not a pushover. And then we'll see how the season unfolds from there.
Yes, sir.
It's Dallas Cowboys football. It's at its best, and this is that time of year where you start getting nervous. And normally, like back in a Romo day, we were good in September, October. Come November, December, we sucked. I feel like it's different this year. I feel like we're kind of hitting our stride right now, which is almost December, which is when you want to be hitting your stride. You want to be hitting on all cylinders. You want to be firing on all cylinders, and you want to get to that playoff spot, even if it's a wild card. We can go play the Saints. I mean, we'll have to go play the Saints or whoever won their other division. It won't be the 49ers. It won't be the Eagles. And then we'll get to the divisional round, and then we'll have to play one of those teams, and we'll see what we're all about. We still got another date with the Eagles, and it'll be at home. So that ought to be a victory for us, and we'll most definitely do our pre- and post-game shows on that week because that's going to be the big week.
The Eagles are better than the Eagles.
I mean, the Eagles, they got their work cut out for them for the next few weeks too. We'll see what they're made of because they're fixing to start playing a tougher part of their schedule than they have all year. I mean, one of the toughest games they played all year was us, and we took them to the wire, and they gave us the game, and we lost it.
Yes, sir. You ready to wrap this thing up?
Let's wrap it up. It's Dallas Cowboys Unfiltered, Facebook, YouTube, Michael Fletcher, Bailey Fletcher.
Coming soon to Spotify, coming soon to Apple Music. We're going to be on everything in case you're on your way to work or you're listening at work or, you just need something to go to sleep to. We're going to be there for you, If you
guys want to chime in, just chime in. We got a Facebook page. Everybody's available to do whatever they want to do. So for Mr. Bailey Fletcher, this is Michael Fletcher saying so long. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. We'll be here next week with the Commanders game pregame, and we'll be here with the Commanders postgame.
Yes, sir. Everybody celebrate your Sunday. This is a victory. This is what we do, go into Monday, not dreading the Monday. You can go in happy and go tell everybody how good the Cowboys are and rub it in their face a little bit because if you're not a Cowboys fan, you're a Cowboys hater.
That's right.
See you guys. For the pregame show coming up next week. Everybody will be here. That won't be pre-recorded, but we'll be here Sunday live.
It's a fight, head bust 'em, we gon' hit 'em with the left, hit 'em with the right, we gon' hit 'em with the left, hit 'em with the right. It's a fight, head bust 'em, it's a fight, head bust 'em.